This has been underway for quite a number of months with the facilitators who have really been the Brazzaville Foundation and people from a number of other countries visiting a number of capitals. They've been to Washington to discuss the initiative, to London, and to a number of capitals in Europe to discuss the initiative, and there's been cautious support to this type of initiative. As the group of African leaders, we felt that it is important for Africa, as it is also suffering a great deal on a continental basis, to come forward with an initiative. And I speak on behalf of those countries that I have mentioned. So in the end, it is the African heads of states that I mentioned who will really be leading this process. It's not really South Africa, it's collectively the various President Sassou Nguesso, President Museveni, President Hichilema, President Sisi, myself, and Macky Sall of Senegal. So the six named heads of state are the ones who are sponsoring this whole initiative. So we're hoping that we will have intensive discussions with the two leaders, the two heads of state, and they have said that yes, they are open to having these discussions with us. As to what these discussions will lead to, we will see as the discussions get underway. So it's very difficult to predict in the end what the real outcome will be and how the full ramifications will be about BRICS and all that. So I would like to say let's allow this process to get underway. It's been discussed quite broadly. And now that it's reached a stage where the two leaders, President Putin and Zelensky, have agreed that this mission should be received, we felt that we should now proceed. What is the time frame? As soon as possible. The preparations are underway, and people are going to be paving the way and making the full preparations both in Moscow and in Kyiv so that these discussions can get underway.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next question, Yen.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister, President Ramaphosa. My name is Yen Liang from the Straits Times. PM, you've mentioned you want greater trade and investment links between Singapore and South Africa, and of course you've brought a business delegation here. I want to know what is your pitch to Singapore firms to come to South Africa, as well as your pitch to South African firms to go to Singapore and the region. Thank you.
Well, the second half is the message which we have been delivering to people from companies from many parts of the world, which is that Asia is developing, it's vibrant, it's a troubled world, but within Asia, the economies are still growing, will continue to grow, and are developing ties with one another. Certainly, that's the case in Southeast Asia, amongst the ASEAN countries, and in this kind of a greater environment, Singapore aspires not just to be a prosperous spot, but a node which is connected to the region and a center, a base where people can use us as a hub, people can use us for headquarters, people can use us as a jumping off point, and come to Singapore, take the Singapore market. It's not so huge, but from Singapore you can access the region. And that's my pitch to the companies in Africa, because the opportunities are there, and I think Africa is growing. You would like to go beyond the continent, and East Asia is where a lot of the world's growth is. The pitch to Singapore companies is we are looking for new markets to open. We have traditional markets near ourselves, in our neighborhood, in China, in India, the developed countries. Those will continue to grow and will continue to be important. But in a difficult environment, we also have to find new markets. And in Africa, there are spots of great promise and great vibrancy. There's a lot of energy and talent. There are many opportunities, but you have to identify where they are and go for them. And South Africa is a very important economy in Africa. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest. It's one of the most advanced in terms of its IT, its financial services, its telecoms infrastructure. It's not a developed economy yet, but it is working to head in that direction, and there are opportunities here. Companies which are here have found niches, and they are able to grow and prosper, and we would like more Singapore companies to come and explore and get to know the terrain. Even if you don't move straight away, be aware of what is possible here so that we do not allow good opportunities to pass us by because we haven't been paying attention.
In many ways, South Africa is positioned almost similarly to Singapore, because we see ourselves as the gateway into Africa. We're the most industrialized country on the African continent, with a number of positive attributes like a well-developed financial services sector, a manufacturing sector, and with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we do believe that there is a great deal that is on offer for countries and companies in the Asian part of the world, and we therefore, from a value proposition point of view, there's a great deal we have to offer. But at the same time, we also, as a country, offer a great platform for even South African companies with our relationships with countries like Singapore to go into the Asian ASEAN market, as we now want to also find some space there, because there are great opportunities there as well. So using the South African launchpad, where we want to encourage South African companies, and indeed it could also be African companies, to enter the ASEAN market. South Africa plays a key role in that. So the similarities between Singapore and South Africa are great. Singapore is much more developed, and we are on the footpath of following in the wake of what Singapore has achieved. So that's why we say they are a comparator country, but they are also a sister country that we want to learn a great deal from. Thank you.